I'm Leon Jans, the young ambassador in Switzerland inspiring girls. We're continuing with our new series, Inspiring Interviews, where I interview role models in various fields to showcase as many career options available as possible to us young girls. Today, I'm here with Maria Hussman. Hello, Maria.
Hi, Daniela.
Thank you for being here. Could you introduce yourself?
Sure. So my name is Maria Hussman. I have a background in computer science. So I studied computer science at ETH Zurich. And I now actually have 3 different jobs. Most of the time I work for Siemens Smart Infrastructure in the research and development. And I lead a small team there. Then on the side, I also work as a lecturer at the Lucerne University of Applied Sciences, where I teach web engineering classes. And then as a more fun hobby thing that I still get paid to do, I also teach paddling classes with the Academic Sports Association in Zurich.
Wow, and what did you want to be when you were my age?
Actually, I didn't know what I wanted to be for a very, very long time. You said you're 14, right?
Mm-hmm.
I actually don't remember at 14. I just know that until I graduated high school, I really didn't have a clue what to be. So it really took me a while to figure out.
And when and why did you know that you wanted to be what you are today? Since it took you a while, how did you actually manage to go that way?
Yeah, so after high school, I actually did 2 gap years to figure out what to do. My plan was only to do 1, but then I'll tell you the story how I got to do 2. So I graduated high school. The first thing I did, I was just jobbing for a bit, working at the restaurant. And then during high school, I was quite interested in music journalism. I was actually also writing album reviews for a magazine. So that was one interest and hobby that I had. So I got to do an internship at the radio station where I was in the music department. But then I realized that it was nice to have music as a hobby, but when you get to your desk in the morning and you have a big pile of albums you have to review, it kind of took the fun out of it. So I decided not to pursue that. And growing up, we always had a computer at home, and so I was interested in working with computers. So computer science then kind of was an option for me, but I still wasn't sure. I was also a bit scared of going to ETH because it has a reputation of being a tough school. So they actually offered this taster week for women in computer science. So if you want to know more about computer science studies, you can go to ETH, and they do this week-long program where you have an introduction to programming. They also tell you about the lectures you're going to have. You also get to see or you visit some companies. And I quite like that. So. But I think, or I still had some months before the study started, and then I decided to do an internship at the company in software development. So I was working a couple of months for this company, and they taught me programming. And then they convinced me to stay another year with them. So I stayed with them full time for a bit more than a year. And after that, I was actually quite sure that computer science was the right thing to study.
And knowing all the things that you have done before, do you think those have given you skills that helped you in your current job?
Yes, I mean, especially the programming experience that helped for my studies. It's not necessarily that you have to know programming to study computer science, but it makes life a bit easier, and you also know what you're getting into, because I learned what the work was like, and then I think also when the studies are not always there are phases that are more interesting or classes that are more interesting and classes that are less interesting. But because I had already worked as a programmer, I kind of knew what the work would be like. And so I think that helps to stick even in phases where it's maybe less interesting.
And what exactly do you do in your job? So, like, what are the main responsibilities or the main things you have to do?
So I work in research and development at Siemens, and in particular, I'm in a department called pre-development. And what we do is we are in between the kind of research that universities do and product development that companies do in general. So we look at new technologies, we look at the problems that our company has, and we try to bring them together. So that means we build, for example, prototypes of our ideas and see if they work or if they don't work or if they could be turned into a product. And to be a bit more concrete, so I'm working in the area of building products. And one project we have at the moment is where we use data about buildings to automatically try to find problems in the building, for example, heating not running efficiently. And the purpose of that, or buildings that have problems, are usually using too much energy. So if we can automatically find these problems in the buildings, we can make them more energy efficient.
And what would be something that you really like or dislike about your job?
So one thing I really like, I feel like we're working towards a better future. As I just said, if we make the buildings more energy efficient, that's a big part of sustainability if they use less energy. So I feel like I'm actually working for something that is helping to create a better future, and we're not just selling ads or stuff like that. So that's what I really like. And I think so that's very specific to my position right now, but I think another nice thing about having studied computer science is it gives you a really wide range of choice where you could work, because it's not just one domain that you could go to. So instead of working for Siemens, I could also be at Microsoft or Google, do something completely different, or a smaller Swiss company that works very locally. So whatever your interest, you can, with computer science, you can almost anywhere find a position. And it's also quite nice that these kind of roles, people are actively looking to recruit. So I know that if you study something else, it might be harder to find work. If you study computer science, it's really easy to find work and it's well paid. So that's also a nice thing about this background.
And how many women do you have in your team?
In my team, none at the moment. So, I mean, it's a small team. It's we are like my little sub team. We are 4 people, and the bigger team is 10 people, and I'm the only one in both the smaller and the bigger team at Siemens. At the team at the university, we're a bit more women. I think, actually don't know the exact number, but it's pretty balanced.
And when you were studying in the ETH, was it balanced, or were there more students?
No, not at all. So it's like 12% of women, I think, roughly. Oh. So there's few of us, but usually you know all of them because there's few. Yeah, we stick together.
And why do you think that few girls select to study like more technical or science fields?
I know there are studies, and I'm not an expert exactly. So if you wanted to know in detail, you would have to look at the studies. But I mean, one reason could be that there's a lack of role models, and I think you're really trying to do a good thing here by showing or portraying role models. So maybe some women are not aware that these roles exist and that they are interesting and exciting for them as well. maybe they're not aware of, because society doesn't have that as an option for them. So that might be one explanation. But I don't know. It's a good job, so more should do it.
And what advice or recommendation would you give to girls that want to maybe follow your path or get into computer science?
I think getting a bit of experience like I did certainly can't hurt. I mean, for me, as I said, I really wasn't sure. So if you already know that's what you want to do, I would say just go for it. Study computer science. If you're in high school, you have elective courses. Take the computer science elective courses. If you already know that's what you want to do, then why wait? But if you're like me and you're unsure, then I think talking to people, doing internships, getting experience, that kind of thing definitely helps.
Thank you so much for being here, Maria. Personally, I am interested in computer science, and I've seen that the ATH is really tough. Was it as tough as people say, or not that much?
Don't let it scare you, because I was scared and it was okay. Of course, the first year is not easy and you have to study, but I felt like the reputation is worse than it actually is. So, and even I would say it's better to try and fail than to be scared and not try, and you might have succeeded if you had tried.
Well, thank you so much for being here today, Maria.
Yeah, thank you for having me.